Hi, welcome back to 8 bits. In this session, we will see the differences between foreign key constraint creation in Oracle database and Microsoft SQL Server database. The concept is same here, but syntaxes are different. Let's understand what is foreign key constraint with an example. Now, here you can see we have two tables. One is department and one is employee. Let's see the columns. So department having department ID and name of the department. Similarly, employee having employee ID, first name, last name, and then department ID. Now here you can see the department ID column is in a green color. That means we have added the department ID as primary key. So the number, whatever the department ID is there, it should not repeat. Unique number should be given. Now let's see, we have given 101, 102, it will continue 103 like that. Similarly, we have here employees. Now here you can see the department ID in the employee table, which is called as foreign key, because this is dependent on the department table's department ID. If HR department is not exist in department table, then we cannot assign that department to employees in department column. So that's why I have given here one drop down to understand better. So if you click the drop down, you can see only the departments which are present in this department table. Either you have to select any one from this drop down. Now let's consider F&B department. There is one employee newly joined and there is no F&B department inside this department table. In that time we cannot assign the department for that employee. So first task is we have to come to department table and insert one F&B department. After that only we can assign that department to the employee. Whatever we have seen here, this relation department ID from employee to department ID from department table, this relation we are calling foreign key reference. So this department ID is referring to the department table's department ID. Now let's see practically in Microsoft SQL Server and Oracle how exactly we can create this operation. So let's jump to Microsoft SQL Server. In Microsoft SQL Server, my first task is to create a department table, and here I have copied this script for saving the time. The script is very straightforward. We are creating one department table and providing department ID as primary key. So we have created the table. Now let's create another table called employee. We will keep this employee table simple. We will consider column employee ID, and after that we will consider first name as not null and second name as not null. Then we will add a department ID for foreign key. Now let's concentrate on this department ID creation foreign key script line. So the syntax will be department ID, then varchar of 10 I will give here. Now the keyword called foreign key will come here. After that, this foreign key we have to give the table name. This foreign key reference to which table? That is department table, and the column ID is department ID. So let's execute this. Okay, syntax error. Okay, I think we have to add references keyword here. Now let's execute. Okay, there is a spelling mistake in varchar. So the syntax is department ID varchar of 10 foreign key references the table name department of department ID. Okay, here another error we got. Oh, the length of foreign key data type should be same to the references table. That means here we have to give 12. Yes, here our table is created. We have created the foreign key reference. Now let's see how we can drop that constraint. The syntax is alter table emp drop constraint and constraint name. So here you can notice we have not given any constraint name. Instead, directly we have created the constraint. Now to drop the constraint, syntax is saying we want a name. In Microsoft SQL Server, there is a query called information schema.table constraints. This is a table where we will get all the table related details. Now here I am giving emp table so that I will see the constraints, which are constraints are used here. So the second constraint fk and one name is there, emp underscore department. This is a constraint name which Microsoft SQL default created that name. So I am using that name to drop the constraint. Now you can see here constraint is dropped. Now let's create in a proper way with the foreign key constraint name. So the syntax will be alter table emp add constraint. Now the name of the constraint. So here I will give emp department id. So this will be my constraint name now, foreign key constraint name. Then after that I have to give foreign key. Then we have to add the column for which column we are referring foreign key, that is department id. After that references, so we are referring to which table, that is department table of department id. Now again foreign key is created. Let's execute the information schema script and we can see here the constraint name is whatever we have given. So if you are giving a name, then while dropping it's easy to drop the constraint. If we are not giving any name, then database engine automatically gives its own name randomly. Now let's drop the table, drop table emp, and we will give the constraint name in the create statement itself. Department id varchar of 2, then constraint, name of the constraint, foreign key references, the main table, and after that the column of that table. This is a proper way to create a foreign key constraint with name. Now let us insert some data to department table and see how exactly this works. So I have inserted one record with the department id 100 to department table. Then I have created another employee record with foreign key reference of 100. Now you can see here one error we are getting because the 101 department is not there in department table. So I am adding sales department as 101 and I have inserted select star from employee. So here you can see both the department IDs are showing in the table employee. Let us try to achieve the same in Oracle database. So I have copied this department creation script to Oracle and I just executed that so that the department table is created. Now same I have copied from SQL server with this employee creation table script. So let's execute this. Okay, I'm getting one error here because here varchar 2 I have not mentioned. I have mentioned varchar of 10 because of the copy paste. So let me change to varchar of 2 here. Then another thing it is saying missing right parenthesis. So here another thing we have to notice in Oracle, when you are creating a foreign key, you have to mention the table column name, which column you are referring to creating this foreign key. Then after that we have to give one comma here so that foreign key creation script is separate from the table creation. So right now we have created the table. So the difference is we have to give one comma here after the column, then the script. And here one thing we have noticed, now the department ID foreign key reference we having varchar of 10 characters, but in the department main table we are creating at 12. But we noticed in SQL server it is not allowing, both should be same. But here the column character length both are different. Now let's see what exactly the name of our foreign key reference, because we have not given any name here. The script is select star from user constraints where table name is equal to emp. Now here all the list we will get from that tables, what are constraints are there. So if you see the third column constraint type, the P is primary key and R is the reference, that is foreign key, and the name of that foreign key is sys 0017. You can see 1700 in the last. So now for dropping this constraint we can use that name so that the alter table emp drop constraint, that name will drop the foreign key reference from that table. Let us create the foreign key constraint from alter statement. So here the statement is alter table emp add constraint, name of the constraint, then foreign key keyword, after that the column name, then references to department tables department ID column. So once I executed this, constraint is created, foreign key constraint. Now let's see what is the name of the constraint. This is a name which I given, emp department ID. Now it's easy for me to alter or do any modifications based on this name. Now let us insert one record to department table and see. Okay, here we are getting error because get date function is from SQL server. Here it is sysdate. So one record is inserted with the department ID 101. Now let's try to insert one record to emp table. Oh, I did a mistake here because in departments it's 101 and here I inserted 100, department ID 100. That's why I'm getting this error. So let's execute the second record which having 101 department ID. So one record is inserted here. Now let's insert another department ID with the department HR with the department ID 100, and let's execute our first record to EMP table, and let's commit once. Okay, so now I have inserted 2 records to EMP table. Now let's see what exactly the details are there in EMP table. Select star from EMP, and here you can see the 2 records are inserted successfully. All these scripts I have published in my blog, so that if you are trying to achieve the same in Microsoft SQL Server or else in Oracle, you can use those scripts. Blog link is updated in the video description. So thank you for watching this video, and see you in the next one.